Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm bringing you another battle from the June International Challenge. Of course, I've been bringing you all my battles from it recently. You guys have done an awesome job supporting the series. You got 500 likes on yesterday's video, so of course, let's aim for another 500 on this one to get another upload tomorrow. But basically, yeah, I've had a lot of fun using this team, but I think this is one of the games where I can kind of feature it because of a bunch of notable weaknesses. It was a pretty fun game, definitely a close one, and my opponent had a lot of interesting choices, especially the Jolteon. Mega Venusaur is always a cool Mega as well, and Chandelure is an interesting Pokemon because you never know what item it carries, could be Focus Sash, could be Choice Specs, could be Choice Scarf. So going into it, I figured that Rotom Wash was definitely the best Pokemon to bring overall because you see it beats the Azumarill and the Chandelure, and Jolteon can't do too much to it. And of course, the only Pokemon that really gives that trouble is Mega Venusaur. Mega Venusaur is actually one of the most difficult Pokemon for my team to match up against individually, so I knew I'd have to bring my Specs Gardevoir and try to KO it with that. But since I wasn't running max special attack on my Specs Gardevoir, I was actually running very little special attack in EVs. I knew that Gardevoir might actually not be able to pick up the KO with Psychic, which will come into play later on in the game. But without revealing any more, let's go into this match. So like I said, I knew Rotom Wash would be the best bet just to start off the game, and I figured Gengar would be a good partner to pair it up with because you can target the Chandelure and can even burn the Mega Venusaur, and Mega Venusaur is really annoying, so if my opponent did decide to lead with it, I could burn it right from the start and just chip away at it with residual damage. So the lead is really perfect with me because he goes with Chandelure and Azumarill, meaning I can just Shadow Ball and Thunderbolt here, but of course my opponent makes a great play switching the Azumarill into the Jolteon. Looking back at it, it really was a play that you'd expect, but at the same time I was thinking perhaps he might have Aqua Jetted and Shadow Balled my Gengar if it was a Choice Scarf Chandelure, which he reveals himself to be. So I just went for the safe Thunderbolt there, saying okay, if he decides to stay in, then I'll be able to just get a lot of damage off. If not, then Jolteon will take it, but of course with Volt Absorb he's not actually getting a special attack boost like Lightning Rod, so it's a trade-off I'm actually willing to make. He's going to bring in Venusaur here, and that's obviously going to Mega Evolve. And Venusaur, like I said, gives me a lot of trouble. I don't want to just carelessly switch in my Gardevoir because I need Gardevoir to be at full health, and I needed to get a full-powered Psychic off against that Venusaur. So I'm going to protect my Rotom Wash here. I don't want it to take any damage, and he just goes for the safe Thunderbolt onto Gengar. Perfectly fine by me because, like I said, I did not want to just carelessly switch in my Gardevoir there. And he does reveal himself to have the Life Orb item. Venusaur goes for the Sleep Powder, but of course Rotom is going to be protected from that, but Sleep Powder is always scary to see because I didn't really bring a way to effectively deal with it that game, so I knew if my opponent actually hit one or two, that would be really bad for me. Now this next turn, his Jolteon goes for the Psychic onto Gardevoir, which brings me under 50%, a lot more than I actually expected. My Gardevoir is pretty bulky by itself, and I do go for the Choice Spec Psychic on Venusaur, outspeeding it, but it barely misses on the knockout, and that was really bad. I was kind of expecting it to, but of course I wasn't running max special attack investment, and my Hydro Pump actually does not knock out the Jolteon either, and suddenly things are looking really bad for me. He also gets a Giga Drain off against that Rotom Wash, and he's going to heal himself a considerable amount, and now it's really bad because Jolteon can actually KO the Gardevoir with another Shadow Ball, so things are not looking too hot. I also need to conserve my Rotom Wash. Rotom Wash at this point is my only real way of beating the Azumarill, which my opponent revealed in the back, so I know if I want any chance of winning this game, I need to make some smart switches and conserve that Rotom Wash. So I bring in the Lucario here, expecting the Shadow Ball Giga Drain, and that is what he goes for. At this point, I know that I didn't want to switch out the Rotom Wash this turn, and because I knew I needed to conserve Gardevoir as well, and I figured my end game was basically have Gardevoir and Rotom Wash together out on the field. But having Mega Lucario actually helps a lot too, because I do have the priority Bullet Punch, which can KO Jolteon. So now all I need to hope for is at this point that he does not KO the Gardevoir. Gardevoir, interestingly enough, traces the Volt Absorb, so if my opponent did decide to Thunderbolt that slot, I would actually gain HP. At this point, I'm just hoping he doesn't Sludge Bomb or Sleep Powder me, so Lucario goes for a Protect. One of the issues with using such a high offensive team like the one I used in the tournament is you often fall behind very quickly, and as a result, you need to make some really smart switches, and if your opponent just plays a bit more aggressively and say double targets, then he can easily win the game. But fortunately enough, he does go attack into my Protect once again, and this following turn basically could not have played out any better. I get the Bullet Punch onto Jolteon. I was kind of anticipating a Azumarill switch in there, but I decided to just play it safe and go for the Bullet Punch and Psychic, and I am able to knock out both my opponent's Pokemon, and that's actually basically going to seal up the game since I do have a full HP, or not full HP, but a decently healthy Rotom Wash in the bag, as well as a Lucario and a Gardevoir. If he switched his Jolteon into the Azumarill there, I might have been in some more trouble because he could have actually just Aqua Jetted the Gardevoir slot. But instead, things played out the way they did. Aqua Jet's not able to KO the Lucario here. I'm able to get a Bullet Punch and a Psychic off, and of course, I've done so much damage at this point that there's really nothing my opponent can do. So he forfeits there. So a 3-0 win there, but definitely a lot closer than you'd anticipated to be. Like I said, if my opponent was a bit more aggressive, since he was ahead already at some points and double targeted instead of, attacking and making the safe play, he very well could have won the game. I really relied on switches and, hoping that he wouldn't double target a slot. And in the end, it did work out like that. He was also playing a bit safer by not sleep powdering. If he sleep powdered instead of Giga Draining at any given point, that would have set me back a lot, because basically if I lost any momentum in terms of switches there, I would have lost the game. But of course, sleep powder is kind of a bad move to rely on. But really cool team by my opponent, definitely. You don't see Jolteon very often, but it definitely gave me a lot of trouble. Choice Scarf Chandelure also, just eliminating the Gengar or doing enough, bringing it down to 1 HP. Azumarill is also always a Pokemon you have to play carefully about, mainly because, it resists a lot of attacks. It's really powerful. It's Fairy, of course, one of the best types in the game. And Mega Venusaur is just so bulky. But, in the end, fortunate enough, even though falling behind earlier in the game, I was able to come out with the win. So I hope you guys enjoyed that game. It was definitely really, really close. I remember I was probably sweating while I was playing the game. But yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed that. Like always, 500 likes is the goal for daily uploads. And I'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice night, guys. Peace.